This isn't just a drone shot. This is dynamic range. This is control. This is quality. This is where aerial footage starts feeling cinematic. This is the DJI Mavic 4 Pro.
For a long time, I always felt like drone shots were kind of a gimmick. They were a bit jarring when you would cut from a real camera to a drone, and that always threw me out a little bit. There is a bit of a gimmick, be it to add spectacle to like a wedding video or like a real estate, but they never really truly felt like a camera to me, more of like kind of like a GoPro in the sky. And I found it always jarring to cut from like camera footage to then cut to drone footage. The Mavic 4 Pro is more like a camera in the sky than your typical drone, and now I find myself reaching for it even when I don't need it. You can finally mix it with your A cam and your B cam without anyone really noticing. You mightn't have even noticed that I'm filming this talking head on it right now.
The Mavic 4 Pro has 3 real cameras, not digital crops or anything like that. 3 different cameras, different sensor sizes that offer different focal lengths and levels of zoom. You've got a 28mm wide, perfect for your classic drone shot, your sort of environmental shots, top downs, showing the scale of things, your typical drone shot. Then you have the 70mm lens, which has probably become my go-to overall because there's a bit more compression, it's zoomed, so there's a bit more depth in whatever you're shooting, but it's not super zoomed in, so it's a good balance between, I guess, that kind of depth and compression, but then also like that drone shot, where I find the 28mm is almost too much that typical drone shot, so I only use it sparingly. And then a 168mm lens. This thing compresses like a cinema camera. It turns everyday moments into something that feels intentional. That compression, that isolation, that feels like something you would shoot more on a camera than a typical drone. So being able to use the versatility and perspective of a drone, but with the compression of like a zoomed in lens, has definitely been like my favorite part about using this drone, because it just opens up so many possibilities. And I think the 3 cameras and the 3 focal lengths on this drone, how you use each one and using them intentionally and mixing them together, definitely brings the best result for using this drone. It's not just about versatility, it's about being able to frame with intent. You're no longer stuck with your typical wide drone shot. You're choosing the lens that fits the shot, all while staying in the air. Now, the image quality you get from this drone is really what makes it stand out to all the drones before it. On all 3 cameras, all 3 sensor sizes, I was just blown away by the image quality and the dynamic range. Grading the footage from this drone, regardless of what camera, is just magic. You have the full D-Log on all 3 cameras, which I am very grateful for because I hated using the pseudo D-Log on the DJI Air 3S, which I'll get to later in this video. But the image quality and color has just blown me away and is what keeps me wanting to take this everywhere with me. I was impressed with how all 3 cameras handled both skin tones and skin detail. I also tested all 3 cameras as far as how they handle underexposure, kind of mid-level exposure, and then overexposure. And I found that with all 3 sensors, you're better off just overexposing just a touch to probably get the most clean and balanced image overall. Now, you can't talk about a DJI drone without talking about active track. Obviously, manual shots when done right will always be the best, but to get this level of tracking, especially on the 168mm lens on a drone this price, is awesome for solo operators, because with the image quality you get combined with being able to do these real complex zoomed in tracking shots all just with one operator, you're almost like capturing what a 2-person crew with an early on Inspire could do, versatility wise and quality wise. Obviously it doesn't match the Inspire 3, but being able to track like this, where even if you just spotlight and you fly and the drone just keeps your object in frame, it almost is like a 2-person crew. So when you combine that with the quality and color from this drone, it's pretty freaking awesome for a solo operator to be able to get shots like this. Now, it's obviously not perfect. For example, when a car goes behind trees or something, it will get confused, or it can get confused by another car, and manual shots will always be king, but it definitely opens up what you can do with this drone. Now, my reasons for upgrading. I enjoyed using the DJI Air 3S, but I always felt like it was a harsh step down from my, standard cameras on the ground, especially in terms of dynamic range, and the shadows would always be super muddy and noisy, and I think those two things just really stopped me from wanting to use it unless I had to. It was great for traveling and whatnot, but the image quality on this drone has definitely brought drones back to the front of my mind a bit more, and has me actually like wanting to use it, not just when I like need to use it. Things I didn't really touch on that I will mention before I wrap up. Obviously the gimbal can tilt now. That's pretty cool. It's not something I'm going to use all the time, but for certain things, if I want to add a certain effect, like when the car was going around the corner, just little things like that, it's pretty cool. And being able to like look up higher, like a higher angle of like gimbal tilt when looking up is good for like revealing like tall objects from low shots. And another thing that impressed me that I didn't think would was the slow motion capabilities. I expected slow motion from a drone to be very noisy, low quality, but it's actually pretty impressive, especially the 50 frames per second, but the 100 frames per second is also usable. The battery life was another thing that really surprised me. I feel like you can stay in the air for like 40 minutes, which is crazy how far drones have come in that way. And yeah, I think that just about covers anything and everything. I know I didn't cover every spec, and I sort of just talk about what I feel like talking about, but that's how I like to review things. I like to talk about, what I like about it, what it adds to my workflow, why I enjoy using it. And yeah, that's it really. If there's any Mavic 4 Pro content you'd like to see, just let me know in the comments, and thank you for taking the time to watch, and I hope you subscribe.